Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Books and Betches. I'm Kristen, and with me I have...
Erica.
Maria. Damn.
That was feisty. This is a book podcast.
I thought she was going to do like, Hannah
With him in heaven.
I've sent you guys that girl that like dresses it all pink and she's like blessing you when you finish doing it. It's like, you'll finish another week. I've sent her to you. She's funny.
This is a book podcast. We swear, we spoil, we talk about sex, and we suck at podcasting. This week, we're doing a very anticipated book, Blood Over Brighthaven by
M.L.Wang.
M.L.Wang, which is interesting because I had one of her books in my want to read for a while, Sword of Keegan. Is it Keegan? I'm not sure if it's Keegan. Please don't come at me.
Hold on. Kaigan.
Sorry.
Sword of Kaigan.
You're so right. I can't believe I said Keegan. I'm so stupid. Okay. Sword of Kaigan. I have had that in my want to read for a while.
Oh, that one's actually even more rad.
Oh, I started it. It's fucking phenomenal already.
Really?
Yes. If we want to do
And
it for the podcast, it's long.
But it's a solo book.
Yeah, we should do it for the podcast. I'm just saying. The Audible, it goes quick. Come on.
She said.
Either way, Blood Over Brighthaven.
I mean, the rating, babe. 4.46.
Thank you.
Look how many fucking pages it is.
Okay. 651. You know what we did with Sarah J. Maas?
And
the pages I've gone through for you?
Can we please do it?
Yes, babe. I say yes.
If one person writes in,
You hear that?
If one person writes in and they show me evidence that they read this book and they would like us to do it, I will.
You heard it.
I bet you Robin has. Let's see.
Robin, get in there. Please, anybody.
I need evidence that it has been read.
Okay. I don't know how you prove that, but okay.
Like, tell me an anecdote.
No, because then you're just going to do the thing where now you know things that you shouldn't. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Let's move on.
Okay, maybe Robin hasn't read it yet, but this might be the first
Blood
ever.
Over Brighthaven. Okay, I didn't know this was M.L.Wang. I had no idea. So in my mind, I was like,
"You didn't know who M.L.Wang was?"
Yes, I did.
She had the book already saved before.
I've heard of her.
Blood Over Brighthaven. You had saved.
No, Sword of Kaigan one.
So when we said Blood Over, I didn't know anything about it. Is my point. I didn't know anything about this book, so I thought it was another book. I didn't even know who brought it. I didn't realize
I brought it in. I'll tell you the story in a second.
You brought it up. I said we should read it.
But here's how I'm going to tell you how I found out.
Thought it was going to be a dumb romantasy book, so I'm glad I was wrong.
Exactly. Well. So this book came from my friend Sophia. Sophia and I met through work and we've become like besties. And she started her reading journey. So she's like you. She's not really into like, she's read romantasy, right?
Okay, same.
But she's not like
in it.
I love you, Sophia. You're different. She's not like other girls, we say. So she had joined a book club that was doing this book.
Oh, wow.
And so she told me,
crazy book.
She's
for a
like,
book club,
dude, this book is so good.
Yeah.
I joined. It gets better. Joined for this book club. It's been fun. Fast forward, she's read the book and gets told by someone who's friends of the person who started the book club that she's uninvited to the book club.
What?
She's not allowed to come because they didn't know her.
What?
So she's like, I read a book for this and you just disinvited me. It's the most petty, like, weird shit. But we laugh about it.
Isn't the point of a book club to like
literally, I'm like, why would you yeah, it's odd.
That's hilarious.
But she read the book through that and she loved it. She told me about it and I was like, oh, witches, I'm in.
Yeah.
And so say no more. Let me go in as blind as I can.
Somebody's going to invite her to a book club.
Yeah.
I hope so.
So if you're in Georgia, so that's how I learned about this book. I brought it to you guys and I'm glad you guys liked it.
I loved it. I'm
surprised you loved it.
I'll give you my background on this book. So many people have written in to tell us to read this book on. It's been on my list.
So you've been holding out.
It's been on my list for quite some time. I don't remember who told me it first. Jennifer. I feel like there's been a couple people that have like kind of like mentioned it multiple times even. And I've seen it kind of floating around. I've seen it in the social media world. The only reason I hadn't pulled the trigger on reading it yet was because I wanted to be in a good mood reading it.
I understand that feeling.
I was going I looked at the tags on Goodreads and I was like, there's no romance in this. So like, I need to make sure that my mind is in a place where I'm not like craving a romantic story. So I had to kind of like time it in my reading cycle to really like appreciate it. And I timed it perfectly. And for me, this book was 5 stars.
Same. All right.
4 for me.
Shall we? Oh, I'm surprised. I thought you were really loving it.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be a 5-star. I'm telling you, like,
you're right.
For me, a 5-star, I'm like thinking about it when I fall asleep. I can't put the book down.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about this magic system for days.
Yeah, the magic
it's really
great.
good system.
I've been thinking about the magic system for a long time.
Yeah.
You know?
All right, let's do...
I have 60 seconds.
Yeah, let's do a 60 second, then we'll dive in a little bit here.
Oh my God, hold on. Give me a second.
If you're new to this podcast, we do this thing where we attempt to explain the entire plot summary of a book in 60 seconds or less. This week, Maria is going to do Blood Over Brighthaven. She's going to give us the entire plot summary of Blood Over Brighthaven. I'm speaking longer and longer. So
I'm good. I'm ready.
All right, here we go, Maria. In 3, 2, 1, go.
So we are in a world where magic is basically sort of steampunky. It has to be siphoned through a kind of like typewriter system thing. And we're in this world that has a barrier, has a barrier around it. And they have to get magic elsewhere. This girl, it's like very heavily religious coded. She's like one of the first ones to try to apply to become a mage. And she gets in. So she's learning the systems to become a high mage or even an archmage to learn to get more power from the land.
30.
She finds out that the other realm where they've been getting their magic from is actually just outside of the border, and it's called Blight, and it just takes the life force out of anyone and anything, which is how we learn from Tommel, which is he's from the Quen. He is a part of society that's 15. Not loved. It's like they're less than humans to them. And so she basically reveals this to the world, destroys everything. Everyone learns what the Blight is and burns everything to the ground, essentially, and be like, sup, bitches, women are here.
Wow.
It's so hard.
Dude, this is the hardest book to fit into 60 seconds.
And I've been hitting the mic. I'm sorry, guys.
You did great. I think you did.
My hands.
I think you did excellent. For what you had to summarize, I think you did fantastic. So now we could dive in.
Feminism.
Okay, feminism. The biggest thing that I've seen
in this book,
the biggest thing I've seen for why people did not rate this high, all the 1-star ratings had the same exact reason for why.
Ooh, I'm interested to hear now.
They felt as though this was a colonizer, like romanticizing colonizers in a way, because if you look at, and I also felt this way, that the Quen felt like they had their land taken from them, obviously, right? And this place was built based on they siphoned their life to create this place that was like this amazing, society, and none of them
like
knew
a safe
that.
haven.
So the fact that they fell in love in the end, Tomlin and what's her name? Siona, people didn't like that. And I understand that.
I don't call it love.
I wouldn't call that love.
Well, they kissed in the end.
A kiss does not mean love.
But still, they still had a moment.
Yes.
And people didn't like that.
Understood.
And Tommel did, he accepted her in the end and felt feelings to her. He even said, I think in the book he said he loved her. He did.
He did, but he said it was but it was so wrapped up in such complicated feelings.
But that's but the point is that happened, and that's where people struggle with.
I understand that sentiment. Sure. I get it. I think they're reading into it the wrong way.
I agree.
I think I didn't see it as romantic. I think it. So one thing I loved about this book was that our main character dies at the end.
Love it.
She essentially, reveals where their magic is coming from, hoping that the people of Brighthaven or wherever they are, I can't remember the actual true name of them, see the fault and the wrong that it is to power their lives off of the life force of others, right? But people can't seem to figure that's wrong. They don't care. They're just like, what are you doing? How dare you? And so she takes it upon herself to sort of be like, okay, fine. If you're not going to, truly change your ways, I'm going to change them for you. And this is kind of her issue going through the entire book. She has a very big ego problem. I don't like the main character. I didn't like her from the jump.
Yeah.
And I don't think we're supposed to. So she ends up sort of getting Tommel to work on her side and ignite this kind of mechanism that destroys the high mage, the big university where all of this is happening in it. And then all the archmages all die with her. To me,
it was very Game of Thrones.
Very Game of Thrones-y.
What episode or what season when they blow up
7?
When they blow up the Sept?
Oh,
7
yeah.
With everyone in it.
I didn't even think of that.
7 was at 8.
I don't remember.
The season? No, it was
earlier.
4.
was it 4 with Natalie Dormer?
Yeah, it was
Damn,
really
that's
early
a lot
on.
of
I didn't even put that together, but now
I
that you're
did. I
saying
imagined that scene.
yeah.
That was the scene I saw in my head.
imagined.
That's a great,
yes,
like,
because it was a trial.
It was a trial. It was her
Yeah,
trial.
Like
she
circle
was
trial.
sentenced to death, and she's like, "Oh, thank God he did it." Thing blows up.
Such a cool moment.
So to me, it felt like she was sort of self-satisfying. She was self-gratifying herself. She didn't really like
The
deserve
ego.
redemption, but she thought she did. So I can understand why they think that, like, oh, it's like glorifying colonizers and romanticizing it. I don't think it is. I think it's showing the issue that even those who think they're well intentioned, are just as flawed.
So that's exactly how I kind of feel. I think they missed the whole point of the book. Like that is the point of the book. Is that like there is no like depending on how you look at things, like you could be right and doing the right thing and still be wrong.
Yes.
And it was this like this is a book that I think about where like you can really, really read into the text. You can really, really read into the themes and really, really like
the themes are
dig
kind
in.
of thrown at you like pretty,
like
in your face. Yeah.
So this is like one of my biggest problems when people talk about like this idea of like you shouldn't be able to turn off your brain and read, right?
Sure.
The books that I read, you can.
Yeah.
This book you cannot. You physically cannot. Like you cannot fucking read this book and honestly sit to yourself and say, I turned off my brain and I just like had fun with it.
Right.
Like it was so intentional with its wording and what like, you know, what was happening.
Yep.
And even like the conversations the main two characters were having.
Yes.
We're having conversations about morality.
Yes.
Like how you cannot physically turn off your brain and not think to yourself a little bit like, what does this mean in my life? Right.
Yeah.
In some capacity. So like, I always struggle with like that idea because like, I'm like, I see a book like this that's so smart, that's so well done, that's so intentional. And then I read a book like Ice Planet Barbarians and you're like, are we really,
You cannot compare.
Are we really grading this on the same scale?
Oh, true. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that like frustrates me to no end. But
I thought I had like highlighted that moment when they were speaking about this.
the morality.
The morality of like, so for
I thought I did
they were talking
too,
about
but-
they were talking about their gods and how
Oh yeah.
this
yeah.
has a lot of religion through it. It feels
very.
But it
feels like Catholic. It feels
also
almost
playing God. Yeah.
playing God, obviously, but it feels
It mirrored our reality.
Big time.
100% mirrored reality. It mirrored in my eyes, it kind of reminded me of the beginnings of like Mormonism and how that began. And John Smith coming in and be like, I was talked to by God.
Yeah.
And
everyone just
followed me.
Yes.
Yes.
I was given the way.
Yes.
That's kind of how this society
Felt.
began as well.
Yes.
Leon was sort of given a vision by God of a terrible thing coming and that and the
pretty
chosen
much
people
was.
are going to be saved if you go with him. And that basically the Quen are the unchosen. They are the ones who apparently deserve the blood that they're getting.
It's literally nuts.
It's freaking
But
wild.
it's religion.
But it's
But it's
people,
religion.
Like,
It's like-
brainwashing themselves to think
Yeah.
a certain way. That's why I don't think that this was like, I think if people really get mad about, I mean, to each their own of their opinion, but like, again, like, I think you're missing the point because like the point is like meeting people where they're at and like Sayona. I said Skonia, like
That's a while.
like she grew up thinking this one thing and now she's being told something else. And like, how do you honestly measure her with the same stick as everyone else when like she is just learning about this?
Yep.
Like I understand. And like, you know, he loved her for who she was and not like what she believed. You know what I mean? Like,
But he still confronted her beliefs at every turn.
And I love how smart she was. Like, we didn't dumb down the character of her. Like, obviously, she's going to take time to have to like get this information and absorb it and like figure out what's going on. But she always loved the feedback that Tomlin gave her. And
Tommel.
And Tommel. And she always like was able to come to the right conclusion in a way. Like she
It's to her own peril.
Yeah,
because she would have to like basically tell herself, no, your beliefs are wrong, and tell her to be like, oh, I'm a heretic.
I'm just glad we didn't get 50 pages of her not believing. Like she took it and she applied
it, and then she would think about it, and then she'd be like, wait a minute, like, and even up until the end, like she was like, they don't know about this, like nobody knows, and then she finds out that like all of these men
They did know.
have known and they don't care and they think and like it questions this, you know, the femininity in the world and like, you know, this
in this world women are
the
considered
sexism and you know what
the
I mean?
witches,
You know, all of these things like kind of like come into play, and it's like, to me, a 1-star review based off of like 2 characters and you're missing all of the other like really important stuff that like even if you don't agree with them being like intimate in any capacity, like you missed all of this other great like content.
Yeah,
and
I
because
agree.
you got mad about one little like thing in a book.
Plus, she's dead anyway.
Yeah, she
True.
died. Like, it's not like they lived happily.
They don't live happily ever after at all.
I don't think it's romanticizing if there is no happy ever after.
Which is not a romance.
Like there,
Happy ever after
where's
is
the
romance.
romantasy of it?
They shared a
They
romantic
had an
moment.
attraction to each other, which
That's
okay.
nice.
And he loved her. He loved her though.
That is
was
nice.
sad.
Again, like meeting people
don't
where
know if
you
he
are, where
loves
they're
I
at.
get it.
But again, I feel like if you see her character as it is from the beginning to the end, I don't believe her.
The amount of time she was just like, I don't notice people and I don't care about people.
I don't give a shit.
That's the one thing that I did. If I had to pick one thing I didn't like about this book, because I liked just about everything, it was the amount of times that was
She
brought
said that.
up where
They
she was
drove
just like,
into
I
it.
don't recognize anyone. I'm like, okay, we get it.
I think it made for her character. Like I think I like connected, not
Me too.
connected in that way, but like I was like, oh, that makes sense why
Yes.
she wouldn't think more about this because she's just so
Focus on herself.
She's so focused
Yeah.
on herself. She's so focused on power. She's so focused on like
Yeah, but at the beginning,
getting to where she wants to be.
at the beginning, somebody called her out on it and was like, can you even name one other like mage besides the famous ones? And she was like, no. And then when she gets to school, she's like, oh, this is the son of this person. She starts naming them all. I'm like, bitch, you thought you didn't know anybody.
No. They asked her, do you even know any other female mages? Are you just talking about the only ones that were almost there? She goes, oh, you're right.
Oh, maybe I missed
But it's
that
because women
part.
weren't allowed in.
Yes.
So what I really liked about this book, and it tackled something or talked about something that I really struggle with, and I've struggled with my like spirituality, is the idea of like intention and what that means in your morality. Like if you do good things, but there's bad outcomes,
Oof.
or
Are you a
if
good person or not?
Are you a good person or not? Like how does God judge you?
Mm.
Or like if you do bad things, but things end up good for people, or like if your intentions are bad.
Intention versus what?
Yeah,
Yes,
like and
yeah.
for me, like I've known people in my life that do good, but their intentions are bad,
Yeah.
or self-serving.
Yes.
Like I knew somebody who I'm no longer is my life, and they would do things because they wanted you to do that back for them, and they would hold you to that.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And it's like, well, you didn't do that out of the goodness of your heart. You did that because
You expect it back.
You want me to do
Yeah.
it back. And when those opportunities, when they knew that there was not an opportunity for them to have to do it back, like for me to do it back to them, they didn't do it.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? So it's like, well,
How do you measure?
measure that? And
yeah.
like, I find that problem in religion a lot with like some of these people, and especially like if you do good things, but the outcomes are bad,
Which is what happened in the
which
end.
is what's happening.
Yeah.
What was happening? It's like, well, like, are you a good person?
But also, I think she rushed to do that good thing, right? Like she was like, I have to show everyone, and like she was
Because
so
she
stubborn.
wanted to be
but
the
that's what I'm saying,
person.
like,
that
She
was-
wants to go down in glory.
Exactly.
Which is
wasn't
why, again,
altruistic.
I don't
Exactly.
believe her.
Exactly.
When she comes in and be like, y'all are wrong. And I'm like, deep down, I don't believe you for what you're doing. Sure, you think it's bad, but you keep thinking about what legacy you're leaving behind.
She also like
in this
liked the power a little bit too.
She loved the
like there was
power.
moments where she enjoyed like having that control and
Yeah.
that like creepy
Yeah.
character that like was like, I want to like see
Renthorn or
people
whatever his
dying.
name is, yeah.
that shit's crazy to me.
But, like,
There's always
that-
one.
that's playing God to me.
Yes.
to me, that's like men. That's
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
fucking
true.
men just like
I mean,
wanting-
and women at this point.
So
but like the worst that like to me that guy or what was his name
Rentham.
Rentham, like he was the worst of like mankind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he was like the sick
Yeah.
part of
Yeah.
like men.
Yes.
So the coolest thing to me about this book, and we talked about it off podcast is the magic system.
Yeah.
And you
The
said it, you were
magic
saying
system
like a
was so
steampunk
cool.
vibe. I think it's like STEM meets magic. Like if magic was
Okay, yeah.
science and mathematics.
Yeah.
Because
and
it kind of is. It's
it
like
is.
equation. It's
And
like
yes.
chemical equations.
And Mike and I were listening to this in the car, and I think that's why he was like, this feels like the engineering version of magic, where it's like,
Yeah.
you know, you're typing out equations and stuff. And I thought the typewriter
typograph,
thing was
stepograph,
cool.
spellograph,
Have we
spellograph.
seen that anywhere
Spellograph.
else?
A typewriter?
Like for casting spells, like that's new, right? That's not like
For casting spells, yeah, that's
Yeah.
the first time I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
I know in that book we read,
there was a magic typewriter.
the magic typewriter where they were typing to each other. So, I don't know.
it's very interesting. I thought it was
really,
cool.
I really liked the magic system, and that's really what kind of like hooked me in. I stayed for like the themes and like it made me think, and I like books that make you think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? One of the quotes, I never do this, and I did too. Truth over delusion, growth over comfort, God over all.
Yeah, that's their mantra.
And like I love that thought theory, even like an amazing like quote like that
Yeah.
can be twisted,
Yeah.
right? Because that was like the bad guys like quote. Also, the Quen reminded me of the Irish.
Really?
Yeah.
That was
Oh, you listen to the audiobook, their accent was
their accent
Yeah.
was
Oh,
Irish.
fun fact. Can I give a really fun fact?
yes, do that
At
fun
work
fact.
the other day, we were talking about, do you guys remember the show Guts? Nickelodeon's
Yeah.
Love
Guts? We were just talking about that show, and I was like, oh my God, Mo. Remember they'd be like, we're going to kick it over to Mo. And I was like, just randomly, I was like, I wonder what Mo's up to. And I was in a meeting talking. I was like, I wonder what Mo's up to. And I was reading this book at the same time, and I Google her. She's the fucking narrator.
You're having a lot of the moments that I have when I'm
What
like,
is up with that?
that's you're psychic.
I don't like it.
It's
and
cool,
I was
isn't
like,
it?
this
This happens to me
you're
constantly.
there was another one that just came up that I'll tell you later.
happens to
at
me
work.
constantly. I love this.
It's so bizarre. And I was like, oh my God, she narrates this book. This is insane. And I was so amazed by it, and nobody in the meeting gave a single shit. And I was like, guys, please, you have to understand that this is the coolest thing that ever happened. So yeah, Mo, if you watch The Guts, that's who narrates the audiobook, which was really good, by the way. But Irish accents.
she was great.
I also thought of the Maori from New Zealand, Australia.
I just thought of
area.
like indigenous people.
yeah, that's
well,
what I
the
thought of.
Maori
Yeah.
is like they're indigenous to that area, and they're kind of like getting slowly taken over by
The government over there.
the government over there, and they're
Oh,
losing
yeah.
like they're trying to like roll back like a treaty that's been in place for hundreds of years, and it's
Yeah.
what we see often is like this capitalism trying to take over, and they don't care who it impacts and who it hurts, and like you know what I
Wow.
mean. Again, like it's these themes that we see like mirrored, and I really think that this book was so like smartly done.
Yeah.
and, like how
Here's
things
another
were laid
quote of
out.
her
I
and the
agree.
power we're talking about. The little tingle of a thrill reminded her that she was not blameless like so many of the people taking the streets or cowering in their homes. Some fundamental part of her was like Renthorn III, a creature of ego and hunger, whose personal glory had been more important to her than any of the lives she destroyed.
Mm,
Like she destroyed the livelihood of an entire city
right.
for her glory.
Yeah.
Yes, the mindset behind it was I have to expose what's going on. But at
Sure.
the end of the day, it's like whose name is going to put next to what exposed it?
Yeah.
Siona Freya.
And you saw how she reacted when her mentor was like, we will be erasing you out of history. Like you will be a nobody.
yeah, she's like, that can't happen to me.
Yeah. And then there was a small moment where she was just like,
See,
I don't.
one way or another, her genius would be remembered. It had to be.
Yes,
That's
exactly.
why I didn't like her.
I
I'm
know.
glad she died.
I like her. I like her because see, this is what people say. People are always like, "Oh, we want complex characters. We want complex characters," and then
Oh,
people
yeah.
are like, "But you hate Nesta." It's like I hate Nesta because she's a fucking see you next Tuesday. This girl is a complicated character.
Yeah.
She's
This is
complicated,
a
yeah.
complicated character. This is somebody who is like not intrinsically evil, who is recognizing that there is evil happening, but still has her ego.
Yes.
Which all of us kind of do
Yes.
have.
Yes.
Hands down.
And like, not for nothing, I don't know like what I do in that scenario.
Sure.
Do you killing yourself and blowing yourself up and like, you know what I mean? That's
My
a
first
big,
thought process when she did that,
That's a big decision.
I think about like hospitals.
Mhm.
My first thought when the power goes out, my first thought is a hospital. Because how many people are relying on the hospital grid
yeah.
to stay alive?
Yeah.
Right? So if
Yeah.
you're taking away the magic that powers this city,
Yeah.
what are you doing that's affecting the town? That
Like, you're
again,
affecting everybody.
has
yeah.
nothing to do with it, right? The people who are in charge of it, which is the archmages, they're the ones that are mapping.
And
They're
in
the ones that are
theory, people
siphoning.
are gonna
They're the problem.
Revolt.
the bad people could potentially just keep going.
Oh,
Yeah,
well,
they will
that's
keep
the
going.
problem. They do.
I mean,
yeah.
at the end too. So she's killed everyone, right? So we cut to Tommel and Kara, his niece that he saves at the beginning of the book. They see Renthorn, who like basically escaped before all the thing went down, and his little minion, and he's like, "Well, we're the archmages now." And you just see, he's like, "Oh no, it's just going to continue with the next shithead to continue the line." Well, eventually he died, yes. But I'm saying, like, if he hadn't have been killed, if he hadn't have passed right by from Tommel, he could have gone through with it and become the new archmage.
The ending did kind of piss me off though, because Tommel and his niece were ready to just like run away.
Yes.
And I was
they
like,
all, him and
did
the
run
others
away.
did.
but they were ready to leave without the other Quinn. They were like, we're out, we're dipping. And then the other Quinn show up and they're like, hey, we're trying to get out of here too. For them to like the entire book talk about their people and how important their people are, they were so quick to leave it all behind
Because
and leave
they
them in a
were
burning
from a
city.
different tribe.
It doesn't matter. I still think they were like, you think of the bar, the guy who owned the bar. Like they were so in solidarity and like they were each other's people. And I don't know, it pissed me off that he was ready to
I
leave
felt
behind.
that Tommel wasn't
he wasn't
covered
in it
enough.
enough. I agree.
For me, that's why to me it's not a 5, it's more of a 4.
That's fair. I can see
especially
that.
if they're the people who are being truly oppressed
I wanted more of his
and
story.
destroyed and decimated the way they are, I would want to see them win.
Yes.
I want to see how they progress
I
out
would
of this.
totally agree.
I think that's not the point. I think the point
No, it's not the
is,
point, obviously, but
Yeah.
I'm saying like if I had my perfect world,
Right.
I would
That's
want
why-
more of Tommel.
That's why I think this book is so brilliantly done, is because you want the underdogs to win
of course.
and rise, and they take their land back, and it's like, well, no, you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
Right,
like tough shit.
This
kid.
is the reality.
Yeah.
Is that like
This is what happens in the world.
we're pressing restart, and who knows what happens from
Right,
here?
yeah.
And like we're not going to stay around to find out.
Yeah.
Basically, is what.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It makes total sense. I understand the reasoning here, and I respect it. Again, I respect
I wanted 5
that we
more
have her
pages.
dead.
I wanted 5 more pages.
Okay.
What would you have wanted in those 5 more pages?
I just needed like a little bit more exposition of like where they were headed, where they were going, what
They
like
say.
what the like
yeah.
the vibes
territory.
were, like maybe a little bit of like inner monologue, like something that kind of like wrapped the book up a little bit more. Like
Yeah.
it felt a little too like abrupt.
Open-ended.
But again, like that's creative decisions. That's
Right.
not
Dude,
necessarily
the writing though,
The writing's great.
loved
Top-notch.
the writing, and
So good.
It's why
Top-notch.
so I did start reading the sort of Kaigen, and I'm gonna read everything that this person publishes. I am. I was like, this is so good. It's exactly what I was looking for, and I've already listened to. I'm listening to it. I'll be honest, and I've already listened to the first like couple chapters, and I was like, this is so fucking good already. I'm like already obsessed with it. So I know that I just like this person's writing style, and I'm excited to read more from them.
I like a smart, like I like things that have more meaning to that. If I'm gonna read a non-romance, I need it to have substance.
And it just flows perfectly. It's not like too flowery. It's easier. It's not like hard to read, but you do have, like you said, you have to use your mind a little bit. It's just perfectly written. She knows how to show a story and not tell a story, and that's not easy to do.
Even her training Thamel was like, it didn't feel info dumpy because it made sense within like the plot.
Yeah.
I liked it's not the same as it is in the book, but the author blurb. They're an author, martial artist, and weird recluse currently hiding somewhere in Wisconsin with my maroon-bellied parakeet Sulu. I enjoy gruesome nature documentaries and long walks in circles around my room.
Love
Like,
that.
M.L.Wang seems like such a cool character.
I know. I love
And I
it.
think I read one thing that she mentioned about like she likes having her books, like her characters be exactly what they want. Like they
Yeah.
are down to it. Like they don't have any kind of grayness to it. They are very adamant about what their goals are as a character. And I think that's so hard to do the right way.
I agree.
It's so hard to do, period.
Also,
Yeah.
emotions. I think she really nails like the emotion
Yes.
of characters when she was trying to jump out the window. Basically, after I really like felt that
Oh, yeah.
that emotion.
I liked Alba. Is it Alba?
Which one? What character?
Her cousin.
Yeah.
Siona's cousin. When
Yeah.
her cousin came in and basically
I wanted that to like have a an ending too. Like they left on like the worst note ever.
Because she was like, fuck you, basically.
Yeah.
But I respected her that she came at her and was like, we let you do your thing. We let you be egotistical and selfish and do nothing. Like, we are the ones with the roof over your head. We cook, we clean, everything. And we let you do your thing. And you did this to us.
So that was what's so cool about this book, is that you got like the big picture, but then you also got the small picture.
Yeah.
Like you kind of got like the duality of all of these things, which I think is, you don't see that as often.
Yeah.
Like we're like that interaction of like, fuck you like fucked us over.
But also it shows that their other characters are not, they're just not complimenting her.
That,
right?
like,
a lot of times
actions
side
have-
characters just compliment the main character.
Actions have consequences.
Exactly.
And that like this can affect like, you know, your friend, your family, like your whatever. Like it just, I feel like sometimes books don't always show that.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I totally agree. The other thing I hated was the animals getting obliterated by the blight, and then that was what they were showing when she was like showing everybody the true of the blight.
I was interested in how
to
she was going to show them, and it was like every minute basically it just showed images of what was being destroyed.
Was wild.
The blight,
the way she
the blight is so
describes
cool.
the blight,
it's so interesting,
is terrifying.
But they turn into flowers at the beginning.
It's like a flower of their blood.
We didn't go back to that because I thought that was fascinating.
Well, that's why when the thing died, the big tower, I think it was like a big thing of.
It reminded me of Last of Us, kind of.
It did. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
The prologue of this is Tommel and Kara. Well, Tommel and his sister's husband, and Kara, the kid, on his brother-in-law's back, and essentially they're crossing to get to Tehran, which is like, you know, the protected city.
Yeah.
And the blight is basically chasing them. Once the blight touches you, it's like a light that basically just rips your skin off your body in like ribbons.
Crazy.
It reminded me of something, but I couldn't put my finger on it.
Dude, Last of Us is
it
all
reminded me of Last of Us.
Yeah.
When she basically described how the blood of the people were like, once you're just taken, it's just like a flower on the floor. I'm like, that feels like the cordyceps.
Or the boys when he got
that.
ran through in the beginning, like the way his body exploded.
Yeah.
I don't know. But you know what's crazy is that we've been watching The Last of Us because it's on right now,
Yeah.
and then reading this book. One night I had the most intense dream I've ever had in my life of zombies ripping people apart in front of me.
Jesus.
And I was like, I have to like take a break from reading this book for a minute. And, like,
I mean, oh my God, Last of Us is happening tonight.
Oh yeah, it's Sunday.
It's Sunday.
That's what's up. All right.
My boy's back on TV.
Anything else you want to add before we wrap this up so we can go get Sawyer? Did you read Blood Over Brighthaven? What was your favorite part? And what do you wish was different? Let us know at books_and_betches, BETCHES. You follow us on Yatem. If you want to see the action, because there's a lot of it. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, wait. One more thing. Cover's fucking sick.
Cover's great.
Thank you so much for being here. We love you so much. Goodbye.
Bye.